Mr Chair.
Derek Ball.
It's a pleasure to rise on behalf of New Zealand First to take this 5-minute call on the service to citizens theme. And I think that the title Service to Citizens is quite apt. Let's not forget who are the most vulnerable citizens in our society, who need the most help, the most service in their lives, and that is our vulnerable children, sir. So I'd like to talk about the social development area, if I may, but before I do, I think timing's everything. And just today, the Productivity Commission released a draft report on the social services, and the title, and there's an article in 3 News website, and the title is Government Social Services Lacking. And what they say in it, sir, is that changes are needed to improve the way government provides social services to the most in need New Zealanders. The Chairman, Murray Sherwin, says the current system isn't designed to deal with the complex problems facing many vulnerable New Zealanders. Services are designed and commissioned in administrative silos without the full picture of what an individual might need. And what that's saying, sir, is that the government, the way that they deal with social services and the whole process is out of touch. They are making their laws and creating policy and legislation in this chamber, in their caucus, but what's not happening is the interaction with the people and the most vulnerable and how it affects the most vulnerable in our society. And that's what the Productivity Commissioner is saying. It also says the Commission draft recommendations. One of the recommendations are making better use of the data. And what we just heard, the Minister was talking about better public service targets. What I'd put the question to the Minister is, when was the last time those better public service targets reviewed? When were they independently audited? And I can give you the answer. The answer is never. They have never been audited or independently reviewed. So how can the public of New Zealand have any faith or confidence in this government or their social services when the very targets that the government create for their ministry and their services to accomplish are never independently audited? So what the Minister also said was that that government is putting the money where their mouth is in regards to accountability. Well, I challenge the Minister and I challenge the government, all of their better public service standards, get them independently audited and give the public of New Zealand the confidence in their statistics. Sir, I would like to focus on the social development area, like I said, and in particular the Children's Commission and their report, as well as the Social Workers Registration Board report. There are a couple of questions that fall out of in regards to the commitment this government has towards our most vulnerable children. And the first one is, what is their priority? What priority do they give to the vulnerable children? And what priority do they give to the Children's Commission to be able to do their job adequately and properly? The second is, does this government value the role of the Children's Commission? And there's a few things that you can do, just off the top of your head, to answer the question quite aptly. We've had a few bills, members' bills that come through that haven't been passed because of that government. The first is the food in schools, and that directly affects our vulnerable children. Second is paid parental leave. That directly affects our vulnerable children. Instead, we've got millions of dollars being spent on a flag referendum. Where is the priority that this government is setting for our most vulnerable in our society? New Zealand First, of course, values our Children's Commission, but at the moment they have got limited resources, they've got limited staff, and they've got limited funding. These are all coming out of the annual report from the Children's Commissioner. But the question is, what's the expectation to fulfil one of the most important roles in our society? So we've got, on one hand, this great expectation from the Children's Commissioner, from the government to the Children's Commission, to fulfil one of the most important roles in our society, but they don't give them the resources, the funding or the staff to be able to do so. All of their available savings that the Commission has have been implemented. There is a pattern of deficit and overspending under significant financial restraints. And then you start talking about the cutbacks that the Children's Commission have had to make. What is their current role? What is the current role of the Children's Commission? It's to provide a social security blanket.
I call Chris Hipkins.